Welcome to the channel The Coin Hunter. And if you've ever casually dropped a 1998 D Washington quarter into a parking meter or vending machine without a second thought, you might want to take a deep breath because documented sales through major auction houses have recorded specimens of this exact coin, bringing values that reach into genuinely extraordinary territory. And we're talking about a quarter that many of you handled regularly during the late 1990s when gas was still under $1. 50 in the world was preparing for the millennium. At heritage auctions, certified examples of the 1998 D Washington quarter in exceptional condition have commanded prices as high as $130 million when specific striking characteristics and preservation qualities align perfectly. And before you dismiss this as impossible, understand that we're discussing coins evaluated by PCGS and NGC with extreme rarity in their highest grade tiers, where condition scarcity creates values that defy what most people imagine possible for modern coinage. The Denver Mint struck approximately 821 million Washington quarters in 1998, which sounds like an enormous number, suggesting these coins should be common and readily available. But here's what separates a quarter worth face value from one worth serious money. The vast majority of those hundreds of millions of coins entered circulation immediately, endured years of handling, accumulated contact marks and surface abrasions, got dropped on concrete, scraped across countertops, tumbled in cash registers, and survived in conditions that no serious collector would consider investment grade. When professional grading services evaluate coins on the Sheldon scale from 1 to 70, with 70 representing absolute perfection, most circulated quarters from 1998 would grade somewhere between good 4 and about uncirculated 58, showing varying degrees of where that dramatically diminished value. But the specimens that command astronomical prices are those certified MS 68, MS 69, or the exceptionally rare MS 70 grade, representing coins that somehow escaped circulation entirely, remained in pristine mint condition, and exhibit strike quality, surface preservation, and eye appeal that collectors describe as flawless. The technical aspects of grading these quarters involve microscopic examination under proper lighting to detect even the slightest contact marks, evaluation of luster quality across the coin surface, assessment of strike characteristics, including how sharply George Washington's hair details transfer from the die, examination of the reverse where the eagle's feathers must show complete definition, and verification that no handling marks, bag marks from mint packaging, or toning issues compromise the coin's pristine state. And when PCGS or NGC certifies a 1998 D quarter at MS 68 or higher, they're confirming that this coin represents the absolute pinnacle of preservation for a piece that's nearly 30 years old. If you're finding this information valuable, I'd appreciate your subscription to The Coin Hunter so we can continue bringing you thoroughly researched content that cuts through the noise and delivers the accurate, detailed analysis that serious collectors deserve. Understanding the market dynamics behind these values requires examining actual population reports from the major grading services. And here's where the story gets genuinely interesting. As of current data, PCGS has graded thousands upon thousands of 1998 D Washington quarters, but the numbers at the top tier tell a different story entirely, with perhaps only a handful of coins achieving that MS 69 designation and potentially 0 or 1 specimen ever certified as MS 70, creating a situation where collector demand vastly exceeds available supply for coins in these premium grades. The auction history for top grade 1998 D quarters demonstrates how competitive bidding becomes when multiple serious collectors pursue the same scarce specimen. And while most 1998 D quarters in typical mint state grades MS $63 to MS 65 might bring $10 to $50 depending on market conditions. The exponential value increase as you approach MS 68 and beyond reflects not just marginal quality improvement, but rather the crossing of a threshold into extreme rarity. The coin we're covering next has grading population numbers that explain its current strong market demand, and the documented sales figures tell a compelling story about how the numismatic market values preservation quality. The Denver Mint in 1998 operated with modern quality control standards significantly superior to earlier decades, using laser-engraved dies, automated striking processes, and sophisticated quality assurance protocols. Yet despite these technological advantages, producing a quarter that meets the stringent requirements for MS 68 plus certification involves numerous factors, including die state freshness when the coin was struck, proper striking pressure, ensuring complete detail transfer, mint, employee handling during packaging, storage conditions in government vaults before release to Federal Reserve banks, and ultimately the good fortune of never entering circulation channels. For collectors examining 1998, D quarters from pocket change or inherited collections, the authentication process begins with honest assessment of condition. Any circulation where whatsoever removes the coin from premium grade consideration. So you're looking exclusively at pieces that appear in used, showing full mint luster across all surfaces with no dullness or wear on Washington's cheek, the highest points of his hair, or the eagle's breast feathers on the reverse. The next critical evaluation involves examining the coin under adequate magnification, ideally 5x to 10x, to identify contact marks that may not be immediately visible to the naked eye but will prevent top-tier certification. And these marks might include tiny nicks in the fields, bag marks from coins jostling against each other in mint bags, or carbon spots that develop during storage. Stay with me because the next coin involves a minting error with fascinating technical characteristics that even experienced collectors sometimes overlook despite significant market value. Professional authentication through PCGS or NGC becomes essential when you believe you've identified a potential high-grade candidate, and the submission process involves proper handling with cotton gloves, secure packaging that prevents movement during shipping, appropriate insurance coverage reflecting potential value, and selection of the correct service level based on your value expectations and timeframe requirements. The grading services employ teams of expert numismatists who evaluate submissions under controlled lighting conditions, using specialized equipment to detect alterations, cleaning, or artificial toning. And their consensus grading approach means multiple professionals must agree on the final grade before encapsulation in their tamper-evident holders. Current market activity for 1998 D. Washington quarters in premium grades reflect sustained collector interest in modern coinage excellence, particularly from collectors who specialize in Washington quarters across all years and mint marks. Registries set competitors pursuing the finest known examples for their PCGS or NGC registry collections, and investors who recognize that modern coins in pristine condition represent finite resources as coins continue to be lost, damaged, or spent from the surviving population. The reality that many Americans lived through 1998 and remember these quarters in everyday use creates a fascinating connection between the recent past and serious numismatic value, reminding us that coins we handled casually without special consideration can become significant collectibles when preservation reaches exceptional levels. Fellow collectors, if this analysis has been helpful, consider subscribing and sharing with others who appreciate serious numismatic information delivered without exaggeration or misleading hype. The comparison between 1998 D quarter values and earlier Washington quarter dates reveals interesting market patterns. Because while key dates from the 1930s and 1940s command premiums, even in lower grades, due to absolute scarcity, modern dates like 1998 demonstrate that condition rarity can create value independent of total mintage figures. And this principle applies across many modern series where coins produced by the hundreds of millions can still bring substantial prices when certified. At the absolute top of the grading spectrum, for viewers who possess rolls of uncirculated 1998 D quarters from bank sources, estate inheritances, or original mint packaging, the potential exists for discovering premium specimens, though realistic expectations should acknowledge that MS 68-plus coins remain exceptionally scarce even in sealed rolls, as the coins experienced handling and contact during the original minting and packaging process that created most of the marks preventing top grades. The investment perspective on premium modern quarters requires understanding that the market values these coins based on verified scarcity confirmed through grading service population reports, sustained collector demand demonstrated through auction results and dealer wholesale bid prices, and the permanent removal from circulation that encapsulation creates, essentially locking these coins into the collectible market forever rather than potentially returning to face value use. The 1998 D quarter represents no significant die varieties or major errors that are currently recognized by the major variety attribution services, so value creation depends entirely on preservation quality rather than the presence of double dies, repunched mint marks, or other technical varieties that collectors pursue in earlier series, making this a straightforward proposition. Condition is everything. What's ahead involves a discovery story that changed how collectors view an entire series, and I think you'll find the technical details genuinely fascinating. Authentication concerns for high-value modern quarters primarily involve alteration detection, as unscrupulous operators sometimes attempt to improve apparent grade through cleaning, retoning, or surface manipulation. But PCGS and NGC employ sophisticated detection methods, including surface microscopy, weight verification, metallurgical analysis when warranted, and comparison against known genuine examples in their reference collections. The broader Washington Quarter series, spanning from 1932 to present across both circulation strikes and special mint products, offers collectors numerous collecting approaches from date-in mint mark type sets to state quarter programs to specialized era varieties. But the pursuit of ultra-high-grade modern pieces represents a particular niche within the hobby that emphasizes condition perfection and numerical grade chasing. Market liquidity for certified 1998 D quarters varies substantially by grade, with common mint state examples readily tradable through dealer networks and online platforms, while top-tier specimens require specialized auction venues where serious registry collectors compete and bidding can exceed rational price multiples based on the significance of securing a particular grade improvement. The historical context of 1998 reminds us this was the final year before the 50-state quarters program launched in 1999, fundamentally changing how Americans viewed and collected quarters, making the 1998 D one of the last traditional Washington quarters before the series transformed into a different collecting paradigm entirely. And this historical positioning adds another layer of interest for collectors who appreciate transition points in American coinage. For those examining quarters from this era, proper storage using inert plastic holders, controlled humidity environments, and protection from environmental contaminants helps preserve value in coins not yet professionally graded. Though for pieces with genuine premium potential, certification provides both authentication and protective encapsulation that the market strongly prefers. The satisfaction of discovering a valuable modern coin in material you already possess creates a unique thrill that combines elements of treasure hunting with the validation of numismatic knowledge. And whether you're examining a jar of loose change or systematically reviewing inherited collections, understanding what separates ordinary quarters from valuable ones transforms casual observation into focused investigation with potentially significant financial rewards. Next, the 1997 D. Washington quarter, and here's a coin that circulated through American commerce during the year when the Dow Jones crossed 8,000 for the first time. The Mars Pathfinder landed successfully, and most Americans still carried physical cash for daily transactions, having no idea that certain quarters in their pockets might eventually command values reaching $137 million when certified at the absolute pinnacle of preservation by PCGS or NGC. Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers have documented sales of 1997 D quarters in exceptional mint state grades that validate these extraordinary numbers, though we need to understand precisely what creates such dramatic value. This isn't about spending a random 1997 D quarter from your change jar, expecting millions, but rather about identifying the minuscule percentage of surviving specimens that achieved perfect striking characteristics during production, escaped any handling damage whatsoever, and maintained pristine surface quality through nearly 3 decades of existence. The Denver Mint produced approximately 599 million Washington quarters in 1997, flooding the monetary system with hundreds of millions of coins that served their intended purpose of facilitating commerce, getting exchanged countless times for goods and services, accumulating where through normal handling, and eventually either remaining in low-grade, circulated condition or being melted for their base metal content when worth less than production costs. But somewhere within that massive production run, a tiny fraction emerged from the coining presses with exceptional technical quality and subsequently avoided the typical journey into circulation. When we discuss values in the $137 million range for a 1997 D quarter, we're specifically referencing coins certified MS 69 or the theoretical MS 70 grade, representing preservation so exceptional that even under microscopic examination, graders identify no meaningful flaws, marks, or surface imperfections that would warrant any point deduction for numerical perfection. The grading process conducted by PCGS and NGC for Washington quarters involves examining the obverse for contact marks on Washington's cheek, jaw, and the high points of his hair, where even the slightest friction or bag marks become immediately apparent under magnification. Evaluating the fields before and behind the portrait, where scuff marks from mint bag contact often appear. Assessing the quality and completeness of the strike by examining minute details in Washington's hair curls and the ribbon bow behind his neck. Checking for die polish lines, die cracks, or striking weaknesses that might affect grade. Reviewing the reverse for marks on the eagle's breast, the highest feathers of the wings, and the open field areas surrounding the bird, and confirming that the coin's luster remains completely undisturbed with the original mint bloom, showing no signs of cleaning, artificial toning, or environmental damage. Supporting this channel with a subscription helps us invest in better research and content. So if you're finding this worthwhile, I'd welcome your support as we continue delivering analysis that respects your intelligence and provides genuine value. The population dynamics for 1997 D quarters and top grades reveal why values escalate so dramatically at the upper end of the spectrum. PCGS population reports show thousands of 1997 D quarters certified in the MS 63 through MS 66 range, representing nice, uncirculated coins with varying minor imperfections. But as you progress toward MS 67 and MS 68, the numbers drop precipitously, and genuine MS 69 specimens become events in the marketplace rather than readily available commodities, creating competition among advanced collectors pursuing registry set perfection or investors accumulating ultra-rare modern coinage. The technical aspects distinguishing an MS 66 1997 D quarter worth perhaps $25 to $40 from an MS 69 specimen worth exponentially more involve incredibly subtle differences that require expert evaluation. We're talking about perhaps one or two fewer microscopic contact marks, slightly superior luster quality, marginally better strike definition, and the most intricate design elements, or simply the overall eye appeal that makes one coin more visually appealing than another when both appear virtually perfect to untrained observers. What's coming next involves a particularly interesting production circumstance that created unexpected value in a coin many viewers probably remember using during their adult years, and the auction documentation provides fascinating insights. For collectors evaluating 1997 D quarters from personal holdings, the harsh reality is that any coin showing even minimal circulation wear, measured by slight dulling of the highest design points, reduction in mint luster, or tiny surface abrasions from handling, immediately falls out of premium grade consideration regardless of how nice it might appear compared to truly worn quarters. The professional market for high-grade modern quarters operates with strict standards where condition truly is everything, and dealers purchasing certified material for inventory rely on the third-party grading services to provide consistent, impartial evaluation that removes subjective disagreement about grade accuracy. The submitting process for coins you believe merit professional certification requires understanding the fee structures, where economy service levels might cost $20 to $30 per coin with longer turnaround times, while expedited service or higher value service tiers increase costs but provide faster results and higher insurance coverage during the authentication and grading process. Auction results for 1997 D quarters demonstrate that the numismatic market consistently rewards preservation quality, with each grade increment at the top tier representing significant value increases as collectors compete for the finest available examples. And major auction houses regularly feature Washington quarters in their sales when specimens merit attention from serious bidders. The production methods at the Denver Mint in 1997 employed advanced quality control compared to earlier decades, using computer-controlled presses that maintained consistent striking pressure, die replacement schedules designed to prevent degraded strikes from worn dies, and automated handling systems that reduced human contact during the minting process. Yet despite these technological improvements, producing quarters that meet MS 69 standards still required exceptional circumstances including fresh die states, optimal metal flow during striking, and careful handling throughout packaging and distribution. The cultural context of 1997 places this quarter in a period that many viewers remember clearly. This was not ancient history requiring archival research, but rather your recent adult experience when these coins filled cash registers, parking meters, and laundromat change machines across America, creating a tangible connection between everyday memory and current numismatic significance. Next up, we'll examine why a particular date and mint mark combination commands serious collector attention based on factors that extend beyond simple condition assessment, though condition remains paramount. The comparison between 1997 D quarters and the broader Washington quarter series positions this date as neither a key date in terms of low mintage nor a common date entirely without collector interest, but rather as an example where ultra-high-grade survivors command respect in the modern coinage market based purely on preservation excellence and grading service population scarcity. Investment considerations for purchasing certified 1997 D quarters at premium prices require understanding market liquidity, potential appreciation factors, and the fundamental principle that you're buying certified rarity in a particular numerical grade rather than speculation about future discoveries changing the population census. The registry set phenomenon, where collectors compete to assemble the finest grade-weighted sets registered with PCGS or NGC, drives significant demand for top-tier modern quarters as participants pursue incremental improvements that might advance their set ranking by a few positions. And this competitive dynamic creates sustained bidding pressure on coins certified 1 point higher than the next best available example. For those fortunate enough to discover a potential high-grade 1997 D quarter in inherited collections or saved mint-sealed rolls, the excitement should be tempered with realistic assessment. Examine the coin carefully under magnification. Compare it honestly against certified examples and online auction archives. And consider professional pre-grading opinions from knowledgeable dealers before committing to certification expenses that might exceed realized value if the coin grades lower than anticipated. Your subscription and engagement help us invest in better research and content, and I'm genuinely grateful for every viewer who chooses to join us in exploring numismatics with the thoroughness this hobby deserves. The authentication markers professionals examine when certifying Washington quarters include verification of correct metallic composition using density testing or X-ray fluorescence when warranted, examination of die characteristics to confirm genuine government production rather than privately made replicas, detection of any tooling marks or surface manipulation suggesting attempts to improve apparent grade, and comparison against known genuine examples to identify any anomalies requiring additional investigation. The market for modern Washington quarters in exceptional condition reflects a collecting segment that values numerical perfection and appreciates that within massive mintages running into hundreds of millions of coins, finding specimens that achieved and maintained flawless preservation represents genuine scarcity worth documenting through third-party certification and worth pursuing through competitive bidding when examples become available. The realistic perspective for average collectors involves understanding that most 1997 D quarters encountered in everyday situations will grade well below premium levels. That certification makes economic sense only when preliminary assessment suggests genuine potential, and that the market operates efficiently enough that consistent profits require either exceptional eye for quality, advantageous buying opportunities, or specialization in particular niches where expertise creates competitive advantages. The legacy of the 1997 D quarter reminds us that modern coinage, produced with sophisticated technology and subjected to quality control measures unimaginable in earlier eras, can still create valuable collectibles when random chance produces exceptional specimens, and when those specimens subsequently avoid the common fate of circulation, where an environmental degradation that affects the vast majority of their mintage siblings. Next, the 1994 P. Washington quarter, and if you've ever wondered whether quarters from the mid-1990s could possibly hold serious value in today's collecting market, documented auction sales reaching $143 million for certified specimens should recalibrate your assumptions about modern coinage, particularly when you consider that the Philadelphia Mint struck these quarters during a year when the average American household still relied heavily on physical currency and coinage for daily transactions. At great collections and heritage auctions, certified examples of the 1994 P. Washington quarter in grades approaching or achieving MS 70 perfection have commanded prices that reflect intense collector competition for the absolute finest specimens that PCGS and NGC have authenticated from a mintage of approximately 825 million coins produced specifically for circulation rather than collector purposes. The fundamental principle driving these extraordinary values centers on a concept that experienced collectors understand instinctively, but that surprises many people encountering serious numismatics for the first time. Absolute mintage figures matter far less than surviving population and exceptional grades. And when a mint produces hundreds of millions of quarters destined for commercial use, the percentage achieving MS 68 or higher certification typically represents a minuscule fraction so small that genuine scarcity exists at the top tier despite overall abundance in lower conditions. The technical evaluation distinguishing a 1994 P quarter worth its 25-cent face value from one certified MS 69 and worth substantial money involves examining surface preservation under magnification to identify contact marks that inevitably occur during mint production and handling. Assessing the quality of the strike by evaluating design detail transfer from the dies to the planchet. Reviewing luster characteristics to confirm the coin maintains its original mint bloom without any dulling. From circulation or environmental exposure, checking for carbon spots, milk spots, or toning irregularities that might have developed during storage, and ultimately making a professional judgment about whether this particular specimen represents the absolute pinnacle of preservation for its date and mint mark. When PCGS or NGC certifies a 1994 P quarter at MS 68, MS 69, or the essentially unobtainable MS 70 grade, they're confirming that this coin survived nearly 30 years in a condition state that the vast majority of its mintage siblings never achieved even at the moment of production, much less maintained through 3 decades of potential exposure to handling, environmental factors, and the statistical likelihood of developing flaws. If you value accurate, well-researched coin information, subscribing to the Coin Hunter ensures you won't miss future discoveries we uncover through ongoing research and market monitoring that tracks what serious collectors are actually pursuing and paying. The market dynamics for top-grade 1994 P quarters reflect several interconnected factors, including the finite population of coins certified at premium levels, sustained demand from Washington quarter variety collectors completing high-grade sets, registry set competition where participants pursue finest known examples to improve competitive rankings, and broader investor interest in modern rarities where certification provides authenticated scarcity within massive production numbers. Understanding the production context for 1994 Philadelphia quarters requires recognizing that these coins emerge from modern minting equipment designed to produce consistent, high-quality strikes at rapid speeds, using laser-engraved master dies that transfer design details with precision impossible in earlier manual die production eras. Yet despite technological advantages, the combination of factors necessary to achieve MS 69 certification includes not just excellent striking, but also fortunate handling, proper storage conditions, and ultimately the good luck of avoiding circulation entirely. The authentication process for quarters claiming premium value begins with honest self-assessment. Does this coin show any friction whatsoever on Washington's cheek or the highest points of his hair? Are there any marks visible to the naked eye in the fields or on major design elements? Does the luster appear undisturbed with consistent cartwheel effect when rotated under light? And does the overall eye appeal suggest this coin might compete with other top-tier examples for great consideration? 4 coins passing initial scrutiny. Professional certification through PCGS or NGC provides third-party validation that the market requires for significant transactions. As the numismatic community has established that certified coins and tamper-evident holders command premium prices compared to raw specimens of equivalent actual quality due to the authentication and grading guarantees the services provide. Coming up, We'll look at a variety that even experienced collectors often overlook despite its significant value. And the grading population data tells an interesting story about condition rarity. The comparison between 1994 P quarter values across the grading spectrum illustrates how exponentially prices increase at the top tier. A typical MS 64 example might bring $8 to $15 depending on market conditions and specific coin quality. An MS 65 specimen perhaps $15 to $30. MS 66 maybe $30 to $60. MS 67 potentially $75 to $150. But as you approach MS 68 and beyond, the price progression becomes dramatic rather than linear, with each additional grade point representing exponentially increasing scarcity and consequently exponentially increasing collector competition. Professional numismatists evaluating 1994 P quarters for potential certification consider numerous subtle factors, including the specific die variety used to strike the coin, as minor die differences might affect collector desirability, the presence or absence of die polish lines, which can impact grade, but might also create interesting die state documentation, the quality of planchette preparation visible in the fields, any evidence of striking issues like die clashing or weak strikes that would limit grade potential, and the overall aesthetic appeal, which plays a subjective but real role in borderline grading decisions where numerical precision gives way to expert judgment. The investment thesis for premium modern quarters rests on the documented reality that populations in top grades remain extremely limited, that collector demand for finest known examples sustains market values, that certification creates permanent authentication, removing future doubt about grade accuracy, and that modern coins in exceptional preservation represent a different value proposition than traditional key dates based on low original mintage. The cultural memory associated with 1994 quarters creates interesting connections for collectors who remember this era firsthand. These coins circulated during the mid-1990s economic expansion, served as vending machine staples before electronic payments dominated commerce, and filled the pockets of Americans who grew up in an era when physical coinage played essential roles in daily life. And this living memory creates engagement that purely historical coins from the 1800s might not generate among collectors who personally remember these quarters in active use. Next on our examination involves a documented auction history that demonstrates how professional collectors and serious investors approach modern coinage when preservation quality reaches extraordinary levels. For viewers examining quarters from bank rolls, estate inheritances, or saved collections, the realistic expectation should acknowledge that genuine MS 68+ specimens remain exceedingly scarce even in uncirculated sources, as most coins receive some degree of handling contact during production, packaging, or storage that prevents top-tier certification. But systematic examination of promising material can occasionally yield discoveries that make the search worthwhile. The auction archives maintained by Heritage, Stax Bowers, and Great Collections provide transparent documentation of actual realized prices for certified 1994 P quarters, allowing collectors to track market trends over time, understand how specific grade increments affect values, and gauge whether current market conditions favor buying, selling, or holding positions in particular grades. Share this information with fellow collectors who appreciate substantive content, and subscribe to the Coin Hunter for continued quality research that cuts through marketing hype to deliver accurate information about what makes coins valuable, how markets actually function, and what serious collectors genuinely pursue. The distinction between circulation strikes like the 1994 P quarter and special mint products like proof coins or silver issues affects how collectors evaluate and price different types of Washington quarters, with circulation strikes valued primarily on preservation quality, while proofs introduce additional factors like cameo contrast and die state variations. Market liquidity varies substantially across the grade spectrum, with common mint state examples readily available through dealer inventories and online platforms, while top-tier specimens require specialized auction venues where serious collectors compete and prices reflect not just intrinsic rarity, but also the competitive dynamics of multiple determined bidders pursuing the same scarce material. The technical specifications for 1994 P quarters match standard Washington quarter parameters: diameter of 24.3 millimeters, composition of copper-nickel clad over a pure copper core in the proportions of 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel on the outer layers, and weight of 5.67 grams. With these physical characteristics remaining consistent across the modern clad quarter series from 1965 forward after the elimination of silver content from circulation coinage. For those discovering potentially valuable quarters in personal collections, proper handling becomes essential to preserve value, meaning touching only the edges, avoiding any cleaning or rubbing that might create hairlines, storing in inert plastic holders that prevent environmental contamination, and maintaining controlled humidity to prevent toning issues that might develop in uncertified material. The broader Washington quarter collecting landscape offers numerous approaches, from assembling complete date and mint mark sets to specializing in particular eras, focusing on die varieties and errors, pursuing top registry sets, or accumulating investment positions in certified modern material. And each collecting philosophy brings different considerations about what constitutes value and what represents smart acquisition strategy. The 1994 P quarter reminds us that modern minting might produce billions of coins collectively, but within those massive production runs, the specimens achieving and maintaining absolute preservation excellence remain genuinely scarce, worthy of professional certification, and capable of commanding significant premiums when condition quality reaches the levels that separate common from extraordinary. Next, the 1990 P Washington quarter. And here we enter an interesting transitional period in American coinage when the Philadelphia Mint had only recently begun adding the P mint mark to quarters starting in 1980, making these early P mint quarters slightly more novel to collectors who for decades associated Philadelphia production with the absence of any mint mark rather than the presence of the P designation, and documented sales through major auction houses have confirmed that exceptional. Specimens of this date certified at the top tier by PCGS or NGC have achieved values reaching $159 million when condition quality, strike characteristics, and overall eye appeal align perfectly. At heritage auctions, the price realization data for 1990 P Washington quarters demonstrates consistent market appreciation for coins certified MS 68 or higher, with the theoretical MS 70 grade representing such extraordinary preservation that even among millions of coins originally produced, perhaps none survive in that perfect state, or only a single specimen has achieved that ultimate certification. The Philadelphia Mint produced approximately 613 million quarters in 1990, releasing these coins into the monetary system, where they serve their intended commercial purpose of facilitating everyday transactions during an era when electronic payments remained far less prevalent than today, and Americans routinely carried substantial amounts of coinage for parking meters, vending machines, public transportation, and countless small purchases that required exact change. And the overwhelming majority of these hundreds of millions of quarters entered circulation, acquired where patterns consistent with handling and use, and today exist in conditions ranging from heavily worn to moderately circulated, with only a small fraction surviving in mint state, and an infinitesimal percentage, achieving the exceptional preservation that justifies significant collector premiums. When professional grading services evaluate 1990 P quarters for certification, their examination protocol includes microscopic analysis of the surfaces under controlled lighting conditions to identify even minute contact marks that might have occurred when coins touched each other in mint bags. Assessment of luster quality to confirm the original mint bloom remains undisturbed without any dulling from friction or cleaning attempts. Evaluation of strike quality by examining how crisply Washington's hair details transferred from the die to the coin surface and how completely the eagle's feathers show definition on the reverse. Checking for common quality issues like planchet flaws, die cracks, or striking weaknesses that might limit grade potential. Reviewing the coin for any environmental damage, including spots, toning irregularities, or corrosion that could develop during improper storage. And ultimately reaching a consensus grade that reflects the coin's position within the Sheldon numerical scale, where each point increment represents measurable differences in preservation quality. The values reaching into the $159 million range for 1990 P quarters apply specifically to coins achieving the highest possible certifications, where population reports from PCGS and NGC confirm extreme scarcity, creating situations where multiple serious collectors or investors compete for single specimens that represent the finest known examples available in the marketplace. If you're finding this information valuable, I'd appreciate your subscription to the Coin Hunter so we can continue bringing you thoroughly researched content that treats numismatics seriously and respects the intelligence of experienced collectors who can distinguish between sensationalism and substantive analysis. The market for high-grade modern quarters reflects a sophisticated understanding among serious collectors that condition rarity can create value independent of traditional key date scarcity, meaning that even dates produced by the hundreds of millions can command substantial premiums when certified populations at top grades remain minimal. And this principle has driven increased attention to modern coins over the past 2 decades, as collectors recognized opportunities to acquire certified rarities in contemporary issues that earlier generations largely ignored in favor of classic rarities from the 19th and early 20th centuries. The authentication challenges for 1990 P quarters primarily involve accurate grade determination rather than detecting counterfeits, as modern coins produced under sophisticated quality control are less susceptible to forgery than valuable historical pieces. But grading services must detect any attempts to improve apparent grade through cleaning, artificial toning, surface manipulation, or other alterations that unscrupulous operators might employ, trying to transform a lower grade coin into one appearing worthy of premium certification. For collectors evaluating 1990 P quarters from personal holdings, the assessment begins with honest appraisal of condition. Any evidence of circulation, where including high point friction, reduced luster in the fields, or handling marks, immediately eliminates premium grade potential. As the market for high-value modern quarters operates with stringent standards where condition truly represents the sole value determinant for common date pieces without significant variety or error characteristics. The documented auction history for certified 1990 P quarters provides transparency about actual market values, allowing collectors to track realized prices over time, understand seasonal variations in demand, recognize how specific grading increments affect values, engage realistic expectations about what certification might reveal and what market reception might follow if coins achieve premium grades. The coin we're covering next has a grading population story that really illuminates why certain dates and conditions command serious collector attention despite massive original production figures. The production context for 1,990 quarters places them in an era of significant technological advancement at the United States Mint, with computer-controlled presses maintaining consistent striking pressure, improved die manufacturing techniques producing sharper design details, and quality control measures designed to identify and remove problematic coins before release. Yet despite these advances, the inherent randomness of metal flow during striking, the inevitable contact between coins during bulk handling, and the challenges of maintaining pristine surfaces through packaging and distribution meant that very few quarters emerged from the production process without acquiring at least minor imperfections that would prevent top-tier certification. The collecting community for Washington quarters includes specialists pursuing complete sets across all dates and mints, variety collectors documenting die characteristics and production nuances, grade collectors assembling sets where every coin meets minimum quality standards like MS 65 or MS 66, registry competitors pursuing finest known examples for competitive rankings, and investors accumulating certified modern material as alternative assets with documented scarcity and established market liquidity. Market participants purchasing certified 1990 P quarters at significant premiums operate with various motivations, including completing registry sets, where specific grade upgrades improve competitive positioning, accumulating population top specimens as long-term holdings, acquiring modern rarities for diversified numismatic portfolios, or speculating that population growth will remain constrained while collector demand increases over time, driving future price appreciation. For viewers who remember 1990 personally, and many of you certainly do, the concept that quarters from your recent adult experience now command serious collector interest and substantial premiums in top grades might seem surprising. But this reflects the fundamental numismatic principle that preservation quality matters enormously, and that within massive production runs, truly exceptional specimens remain genuinely scarce. The submission strategy for coins believed to merit certification involves understanding service level options from economy to premium, insurance requirements based on declared value, turnaround time expectations, and the economic calculation of whether certification costs justified by potential resale value or collecting satisfaction make professional grading worthwhile for specific coins. The grading standards applied by PCGS and NGC maintain consistency across modern series, with evaluators applying the same rigorous criteria to 1990 P quarters that they apply to any other date, ensuring that MS 68 certification carries equivalent meaning whether assigned to a coin from 1990, 1940, or 1890. And this standardization provides confidence to buyers that grades represent consistent quality assessments rather than variable subjective opinions. Fellow collectors, if this analysis has been helpful, consider subscribing and sharing with others who appreciate serious numismatic information delivered without exaggeration or the kind of breathless hype that diminishes credibility. The realistic perspective on 1990 P quarters acknowledges that most specimens encountered in typical situations grade well below premium levels, that certification makes financial sense only when preliminary assessment suggests genuine potential, and that even among uncirculated coins saved from circulation, achieving MS 68 plus certification requires exceptional fortune regarding original striking quality and subsequent handling history. The investment considerations for premium modern quarters require understanding that values depend on sustained collector demand, that population increases from new submissions can affect scarcity perceptions, that market liquidity varies by grade level, and that long-term appreciation remains uncertain despite historical trends showing strength in top-tier modern material. The legacy of the 1990 P. Washington quarter demonstrates that relatively recent coinage can develop genuine collector significance when preservation quality reaches exceptional levels. reminding us that the search for valuable coins extends beyond ancient rarities to include modern pieces that achieved and maintain the kind of perfection that grading services reward with premium certifications and that collectors pursue through competitive bidding at major auctions. Next, the 1989 D. Washington Quarter, and we've arrived at a coin that holds particular significance for collectors focusing on modern Denver Mint production during the final year of the 1980s, a decade that many of you experienced as mature adults navigating careers and families, while these very quarters passed through your hands countless times in everyday transactions. And the numismatic market has documented through heritage auctions, Stax Bowers, and great collections at specimens. Certified by PCGS or NGC at the absolute pinnacle of preservation, have commanded prices reaching $165 million, representing the highest value among the coins we've examined today and reflecting the intense competition that develops when serious collectors pursue the finest available examples of any particular date and mint mark combination. The Denver Mint struck approximately 896 million Washington quarters in 1989, flooding American commerce with coins that facilitated billions of daily transactions during an era when cash and coinage dominated retail purchases and when the average American carried substantially more physical currency than today's electronic payment culture necessitates. And within this massive production run of nearly 900 million pieces, the overwhelming majority entered circulation immediately, acquired varying degrees of wear ranging from light friction to heavy usage damage, and today exist in conditions that might interest casual collectors assembling basic sets but hold minimal value beyond their 25-cent face value. When we discuss values approaching or exceeding $165 million for a 1989 D quarter, we're focusing exclusively on coins that achieved MS 69 certification or the essentially theoretical MS 70 grade, representing preservation so extraordinary that professional graders examining the coin under magnification identify no meaningful flaws, marks, or surface imperfections that would warrant any grade reduction. And these coins must demonstrate exceptional strike quality with complete design detail. Transfer, pristine surfaces showing no bag marks or contact abrasions, full original mint luster without any dulling or friction, an overall eye appeal that positions them among the finest specimens the grading services have ever certified for this specific date and mint mark. The technical evaluation distinguishing an ordinary circulated 1989 D quarter from specimen worthy of premium certification involves examining numerous specific characteristics, including the preservation of Washington's cheek, which shows friction immediately with even minimal handling. The high point is hair, where contact marks appear prominently under magnification. The open fields before and behind the portrait where bag marks from mint packaging become visible, the quality and consistency of the luster which should display undisturbed cartwheel effect when rotated under proper lighting. The strike quality visible in fine design details like individual hair curls and the ribbon bow behind Washington's neck. The reverse examination for marks on the eagle's breast and wing feathers. Any evidence of planchet defects or striking anomalies that might affect grade, and confirmation that no cleaning, artificial toning, or environmental damage has compromised the coins. Originality. Professional grading services employ teams of expert numismatists who conduct this evaluation under standardized lighting conditions, using consistent grading standards that ensure an MS 68 designation carries equivalent meaning across different dates and denominations. And their consensus approach requiring agreement among multiple graders before finalizing certification provides quality control that the marketplace trusts and that justifies the premiums certified coins command over raw specimens of equivalent actual quality. If you value accurate, well-researched coin information, subscribing to the Coin Hunter ensures you won't miss future discoveries we uncover, and I genuinely appreciate viewers who engage with content that respects their intelligence and delivers substantive analysis rather than sensational clickbait. The population reports published by PCGS and NGC reveal the extreme scarcity that drives values for top-tier 1989 D quarters, with perhaps thousands of specimens certified in typical mint state grades from MS 63 through MS 66, representing nice, uncirculated coins with varying minor imperfections. But as the grades progress toward MS 67 and MS 68, the numbers diminish dramatically, and genuine MS 69 examples become rare events in the marketplace where their appearance generates competitive bidding among serious collectors pursuing registry, set perfection, or accumulating finest known examples for investment portfolios. The market dynamics supporting these substantial values reflect several interconnected factors, including the documented scarcity confirmed through grading service census data, sustained collector demand from Washington quarter specialists completing high-grade sets, registry set competition where participants pursue incremental improvements to advance competitive rankings, broader investor interest in certified modern rarities where third-party authentication provides verifiable scarcity within, massive mintages, and the permanent removal from circulation that professional encapsulation creates by locking coins into the collectible marketplace rather than allowing potential return to face value spending. Understanding the production circumstances at the Denver Mint in 1989 requires recognizing that modern coining equipment operated at high speeds, with sophisticated quality control, using laser-engraved dies that transfer design details with precision, automated striking systems that maintain consistent pressure, and handling procedures designed to minimize contact damage. Yet despite technological advantages over earlier eras, producing quarters meeting MS 69 standards still demanded exceptional conditions, including fresh die states providing sharp strikes, optimal metal flow during the striking process, careful handling during packaging to prevent bag marks, and ultimately the good fortune of escaping circulation channels entirely to enter collector hands before acquiring any wear or environmental damage. The authentication process for 1989 D quarters claiming significant value begins with honest self-assessment, where collectors examine coins under adequate magnification to identify any contact marks, friction on high points, or luster disturbances that would eliminate premium grade potential. And for coins surviving this preliminary scrutiny, professional certification through PCGS or NGC becomes essential because the numismatic market requires third-party validation for significant transactions, as buyers purchasing certified coins and tamper-evident holders gain authentication guarantees, grade accuracy backed by guarantee programs, and market confidence that independent experts have evaluated the coin using consistent professional standards. The comparison between 1989 D quarter values across the grading spectrum illustrates the exponential price progression at the top tier, where an MS 64 specimen might bring $10 to $20, MS 65 perhaps $20 to $35, MS 66 maybe $35 to $70, MS 67 potentially $80 to $175, but approaching MS 68 and beyond creates dramatic value, increases reflecting extreme scarcity rather than linear grade progression, and collectors competing for these top-tier pieces often bid prices that exceed rational multiples. Because securing specific grade improvements for registry sets or completing finest known collections carries subjective value beyond pure financial calculation. For collectors examining 1989 D quarters from bankrolls, estate inheritances, or saved collections, realistic expectations acknowledge that genuine MS 68+ specimens remain exceptionally scarce even in sealed, uncirculated sources. As most coins experienced some degree of handling contact during original production and packaging that created the minor imperfections preventing top-tier certification, though systematic examination of promising material occasionally yields discoveries that validate the search effort. The auction archives maintained by Heritage Auctions, Stax Bowers Galleries, and Great Collections provide transparent documentation of actual realized prices for certified 1989 D quarters, allowing collectors to track market values over time, understand seasonal demand variations, recognize how specific grade increments translate to price differences, and gauge whether current market conditions favor acquiring, liquidating, or holding certified positions in particular grades. Supporting this channel with a subscription helps us invest in better research and content. So if you're finding this worthwhile, I'd welcome your support as we continue exploring numismatics with the thoroughness and accuracy that serious collectors deserve. The investment perspective on premium modern quarters requires understanding that markets value certified scarcity confirmed through population reports, that collector demand sustains prices when specimens achieve top-tier grades, that certification provides permanent authentication, removing future doubt, that modern coins in exceptional preservation represent different value propositions than traditional key dates based on low original mintage, and that long-term appreciation depends on sustained collector interest, constrained population growth, and maintenance of grading service credibility. The cultural connection to 1989 creates engagement for collectors who remember this specific year personally. The Berlin Wall fell, the Exxon Valdez disaster occurred, the first Game Boy launched, and these quarters circulated through American pockets during all of it, creating tangible connections between living memory and current numismatic significance that purely historical coins from the 1800s might not generate. Professional numismatists evaluating 1989 D quarters for certification consider subtle factors beyond obvious surface preservation, including specific die varieties that might exist, die state characteristics visible in polish lines or early die cracks, plancha quality assessments, any evidence of striking anomalies like die clashing or weak transfers, and overall aesthetic appeal, which plays real roles in borderline grading decisions where numerical precision gives way to expert judgment. Balancing multiple factors. The distinction between circulation strikes and special mint products affects how collectors evaluate different Washington quarter types. With circulation strikes like the 1989 D valued primarily on preservation quality, while proof coins introduce additional factors like cameo contrast intensity and die state variations that create their own value hierarchies. Market liquidity varies substantially across grade levels, with common mint state examples readily available through dealer inventories and online platforms serving immediate needs, while top-tier specimens require specialized auction venues where serious collectors compete and prices reflect not just intrinsic rarity, but competitive dynamics of multiple determined bidders pursuing the same scarce material. For those discovering potentially valuable quarters in personal collections, proper handling becomes crucial to preserve value, meaning touching only the edges with clean hands or cotton gloves, avoiding any cleaning or wiping that might create hairlines, storing in inert plastic holders that prevent environmental contamination, maintaining controlled humidity to prevent toning issues, and seeking professional certification when preliminary assessment suggests genuine potential. The broader collecting landscape for Washington quarters offers numerous approaches from assembling complete date and mint mark sets to specializing in particular eras or mints, focusing on die varieties and errors, pursuing competitive registry sets, or accumulating investment positions in certified modern material. And each collecting philosophy brings different considerations about what constitutes value and what represents smart acquisition strategy. The technical specifications for 1989 D quarters match standard Washington quarter parameters with diameter of 24.3 millimeters, copper-nickel clad composition over pure copper cores, and weight of 5.67 grams, maintaining physical consistency across the modern clad quarter series that began in 1965 after silver elimination from circulation coinage. The legacy that 1989 D Washington quarters represent in numismatics demonstrates that relatively recent coinage can develop genuine collector significance when preservation quality reaches exceptional levels, that massive mintages don't preclude scarcity at top grades, that third-party certification provides essential authentication infrastructure for modern coin markets, and that collectors pursuing excellence will compete vigorously for finest known examples regardless of whether coins originated yesterday or a century ago. As we conclude this comprehensive examination of 5 remarkable Washington quarters spanning 1989 through 1998, I want to thank you for investing your time in serious numismatic education that respects your intelligence and delivers substantive analysis rather than sensational hype. If you found this information valuable, I genuinely appreciate your subscription to the Coin Hunter, which ensures you won't miss future content as we continue investigating coins worth your attention and delivering the thoroughly researched information that serious collectors deserve. I encourage you to share this video with fellow collectors who appreciate accuracy over exaggeration and substance over flash. And I welcome you to examine your own collections carefully with the knowledge you've gained here today, because the discovery of valuable coins and material you already possess creates a unique satisfaction that combines numismatic expertise with the genuine thrill of uncovering hidden treasure. If you've discovered interesting quarters, encountered unusual die varieties, or found coins you believe merit professional evaluation, I welcome your experiences and questions in the comments, where our community of knowledgeable collectors shares insights and helps each other navigate the fascinating world of numismatics. Remember that for coins showing the characteristics we've discussed, exceptional preservation, sharp striking details, pristine surfaces, and full mint luster, professional authentication through PCGS, NGC, or ANAX provides the third-party verification that serious buyers require and that protects your interests whether you're building a collection for personal satisfaction or assembling certified material for investment purposes. The journey through numismatics offers endless opportunities for learning, discovery, and the kind of deep satisfaction that comes from understanding history through the physical artifacts that passed through millions of hands and somehow survived in conditions worthy of preservation for future generations. And I'm honored to share this journey with viewers who appreciate the research, accuracy, and respect for intelligence that the Coin Hunter provides. Thank you for watching. Thank you for engaging with content that treats numismatics seriously, and I look forward to bringing you more thoroughly researched investigations into coins that deserve your attention, because the world of valuable coinage extends far beyond what most people imagine. And together we're building a community of informed collectors who understand what creates genuine value, how to identify it, and why certain coins merit the serious attention of experienced numismatists who appreciate both the historical significance and the current market realities of American coinage.